you might as well just say goodbye, because these cards are not for you. Investing in collectible cardboard is stupid. Welcome back, everyone. MTG Moxman here. Thanks a lot for hanging out with me on the channel. There are many of you who watch this channel and love the reserve list like myself. And just as many, probably 5 times as many, who watch some of my videos hate the reserve list. And when I do videos like this, but there is going to come a time where either Wizards will reprint the reserve list and kill the game off, or the reserve list cards will continue to gain value. And some of the cards out there will no longer be available to the masses of Magic the Gathering. I'm not talking about the 50-cent cards. I'm talking about the ones you see in the backdrop right now. When you see these cards here, I'm not talking about the Power 9 I did in the intro. Those are probably beyond most of your reach anyway. Unless you really save and try to get your first piece of power, most of you out there are going to be relegated to buying maybe the odd dual land because you think that's just so expensive. I understand that. It's stupid, right? Who wants to spend all that money on a piece of cardboard? But in my mind, I say, who wants to go out and spend money on a coffee? Different perspectives. When I look at the reserve list, I look at it and see nostalgic history. I see my youth. I see that connection I had as a kid playing in my auditorium. A lot of players out there around my age feel the same way. We're old fogies closing in on 50 years of age, and we've been around this game since the beginning. New players have no understanding of how we feel. It's ridiculous. I don't care about Sarah Sanctum, Gilded Drake, Tabernacle Pendrell. What formats can they even be played in? And that's the mistake Wizards of the Coast made. When they had done the 30th anniversary, guys, honestly, when they did the 30th, if they'd made those packs $10 each, $5 each, $8 each, even $20 each, they would have had so many sales that some of these older cards actually would have seen a resurgence in popularity. Maybe formats like vintage and old school stuff would have seen a resurgence of players who could dive into these old things and say, I never got the chance. I wasn't even born when this stuff came out. This is some crazy powerhouse stuff we're talking about. But no, Wizards did it the way they did it. People don't care anymore. And the only thing holding things together from pure downward spiral is the reserve list. That's how I look at it. That's my opinion. That's how I see things each and every day. That's why I buy things like Soldevi Excavations. That's why I still buy City of Shadows. There's cards out there I pick up each and every month because I like the collectability of it. I like connecting with those cards, holding them. I don't have a Rudy vault. I guess I got a Moxman vault, but it's very tiny. But I still pick it up. I still buy them. A lot of people out there do, but so many don't. And I wonder how much different it would have been. And if it was different, how screwed you'd all be. Because anyone who actually wants to buy the real card would not be able to. When you look at Soldevi Excavations, because that's the card I track the most, I put it in the thumbnail today so you could see how many copies I know the whereabouts of. Do you know it would only take about $3,000 US to wipe out the market on TCG Player and eBay and take a chunk at a card market, assuming you could get the cards over here? That's all it would take. $3,000 US. And you could do that damage. What happens if some player comes along who has a large bankroll, who's got a 6-digit salary 10 years from now? They were in school right now. They kind of remember some of these cards and they talked about it. They have a high-power job and they decide to put $100,000 at something. Because that's what people do sometimes. They would wipe out the market. And that's what I find so funny, because if any of these cards ever become popular, ever, FOMO will kick in just like it did, and you guys can't get them. You can't. That's why I buy them now. That's why I buy them when they're cheap. That's why people on my channel buy them when they're cheap. And no, I'm not trying to upsell you on the cards. I don't care. That's the funny thing. I love you guys. You're all amazing. But I'm going to do what I'm going to do, and you're going to do what you're going to do. And that is perfectly fine with me. Because the patrons on my channel, the guys on my Discord, we all know what we're doing. We're having a good time. We love the game, and we love different reserve list cards for different reasons. But when somebody finally discovers they want a reserve list card, I hope it's cheap when you get a chance to buy it. If you want to sell Devi, I hope it's under $10. I hope it stays that way for you. Because it's been as high as 40 something. And when you see, dual lands at like $200 for a heavily played copy, and you look back at the all-time highs and lows and look at the $40, $50 range, and now it was up to like $600, $700 a card, and maybe this video gets watched 10 years from now and they go, oh, can you imagine the cards being like that? Maybe the reserve list will be abolished in 10 years and this video won't matter. But what if it is? What if it does? The what ifs of life. I feel like I'm in a Marvel comic. The what if. I don't know. I find that interesting. To me, I'm just going to do what I'm going to do. I'm going to keep buying the cards I like. I don't buy every reserve list card because not all of them have that same appeal to me. And by the way, by appeal, I don't mean competitive EDH staple cards like a Tabernacle possibly, or I don't care. The cards I played with as a kid. From a Dwarven Pony to a Thrall Champion. All the way through to Balduvian Trading Post, a Lodestone Bauble. I don't care. The ones I liked. Everyone's got favorite cards. Everyone's got a favorite nostalgic memory of something in Magic when you started playing. Whether you started in Ravnica, Khans of Tarkir, whether you first saw Polluted Delta artwork, whatever it may be. Pick your poison. But the manipulation on the market is so easily attained. If you have, I'm going to use the professor. Never graduated Magic University. He doesn't recognize my existence, so he's a perfect opportunity. Let's just say he's got 10,000 patrons. I don't really know how he has. Let's just say 10,000. And every single one, he goes out and says, okay, everyone, let's go together and let's buy a $1 reserve list card. You couldn't. They couldn't do it. There's not that many on the market. You can't buy 10,000 of any reserve list card. It doesn't exist. And it would cause a massive spike as you started to buy it. That's the funny thing about the reserve list. I always equate the reserve list to little towers of cardboard. And each one's like a stock option. So some cards have 400,000 copies. But how many are lost? Take a chunk out. How many are destroyed? Take a chunk out. We don't really know how many are actually left. We don't even know all the actual production numbers because Wizards doesn't put them out there. There was early samples you can find nowadays to be kind of compare against, but that's it. So we actually don't know. But in the times that I have followed Soldevi Excavations, it has never been restocked to what it was in 2021. It has never come back to the market as strong, which leads me to believe there are far less reserve list cards out there than most people realize. Again, my opinion. Take it or leave it. Walk off, or come back. But either way, that's how I see it. Some people will agree with me. Some people will have a different argument and say, no, you can look here and here and around the world. You're right. You're right. But every time there's a downturn in the market, and somebody like Rudy at Alpha Investments, right, Taco King, when he comes along and buys out somebody's collection, somebody who's given up hope, that is a consolidation of power on the reserve list, where somebody is controlling a larger stake of the market, a larger portion of the pie. And let's say every month I'm buying Soldevi Excavations, and I'm buying 4 a month, which I've been doing for like the last year and a half. So I got, around 60, let's say, 70, 80? But I'm buying a larger and larger piece, so I control more and more of the market. So when somebody decides they want to get that card, they are automatically paying a little bit more because I've never released my copies, nor do I have an intention to. I'm trying to see how many I can get. Other people do that just like me for fun. So eventually if that card does have a breakout option, if a Dwarven Pony becomes amazing, a River Merfolk, I don't know, whatever other useless cards out there that nobody likes anymore. If any of those cards become popular, or somebody just wants to buy one of every card on the reserve list, it may actually be impossible at some point to do so. You want to get your first unlimited lands, may not be possible. Those aren't even reserve list. But the supplies are so short compared to the Magic player base. And yes, that's had a shrinkage right now, just like George Costanza back in the day on Seinfeld. A little shrinkage, but it will grow again. Things come and go. Markets change. Do I think this game's dead? Not even close. Doesn't matter. It's going to do what it's going to do right till the very end. And because it's a collectible game that really doesn't have any value in the real world, it's not going to feed me, it's not going to clothe me, it's not going to pay for my gas. But I get a lot of enjoyment of flipping through my binders and looking at these cards and remembering some amazing games I had with high school friends. Back in college. All the way to my early tournament play. Guys, an amazing experience. And I'm glad I get to remember that. And a lot of players feel the same way. And you guys know who you are. But for new players to my channel who go, this is ridiculous. Who's going to pay 50 bucks for that or 100 bucks for that? You're right. 50 to 100 bucks can seem like a load of money. It can. It really can. I'm not going to lie, it does. But again, I feel the same way about people who go to McDonald's and pay 10 or 12 bucks on a meal when I could go and buy 10 copies of a low-end reserve list card or 2 copies of an OK card, or maybe spend 20 bucks and get myself a Winding Canyon. Get Zubri, the Griffin, right? Different stroke. Zero of the Claw, 10 bucks. TCG player, use my link. See what I mean? Like, everyone's got different opinions on different things and will live their lives the way they do. But if you're a person playing Magic and you're building a new commander deck and you go for Griffins, you go for soldiers. There are so many on the reserve list that are cheap, useless soldiers from Fallen Empires. Fallen Empires cards. $1, 50 cents, 25 cents. General Jargold. But what happens when people build enough commander decks and don't disassemble them and you just can't find copies anymore? Maybe the market will go up. Maybe you only buy $1, but if the card was only $1, it just doubled in value. And any of the videos I've done in the last few months, if you look at any highs and lows, and look where the cards used to be, where they are and where they are now, markets change and they do turn around. And we had our first buyout of Revised. And the reserve list cards in Revised, like Demonic Hordes, right? Like Fast Bond and Fork and Brain Geyser, Copy Artifact, and look what happened. None of those cards have gone back down to where they were. And there's still tons of copies out there. But people realize that was the first stab, the first attempt to actually buy out Revised. So I go back and say, when I do my thumbnail and say none for you, eventually there will be none left. It's not an infinite ocean of reserve list cards. I've talked about this in the past, and the more I think about it, the more sense it makes to me, at least as a player, as a collector of these cards, to make sure I at least have gotten the cards I want. Get like a near mint copy of a Demonic Horde. It's only going to cost me $5, but I want a near mint copy. I don't want to check in 2 years from now and find out the card's 20 bucks and then have to pay more. I want to get the cards I want to get at a reasonable price based on the colors I like to use inside Magic the Gathering. I like to use blue. It depends on what deck you're building. Anyway, I know it's like a gibberish and a lot of fun times, but I look at the clock here and it says it's 12 minutes into the video. But I look back here and see Grim Monolith and I see these cards, Abeyance, and some of these cards do have Commander play. And depending on how Wizards continues to expand on Commander, they may actually start banning reserve list cards from Commander. If they make it an actual format where they know they have to control what goes on in the game, they can't have some players getting a time twister where other players don't have it, right? They want it to be an equal playing field. So if they take control of it, eventually you might see those kind of things disappear from tournament play at all, right? Interesting what Wizards will do, or how they decide to play things out, which could affect the secondary market, making the cards worthless again, except for that small, finite group like myself who just care about reserve list cards and just like them. It's an ever-changing place. But there is only a finite amount. That much I'm sure of. There's not stockpiles sitting in a warehouse like Legends, probably Antiquities in the dark. Yeah, who knows what Wizards does out there. Anyway, I just wanted to touch on this today because it really doesn't change anything. I'm not trying to change minds. I'm just letting you know what I've seen and what I've followed on YouTube and what I've done so far. And that's only a couple of years. Some people have been at this for decades in an aggressive manner. And I've been at it in a limited capacity for less than 2 years. And I've done some stuff that people don't even know about. Anyway, thanks for tuning in. Thanks for being here. Hope you guys enjoyed the video. Strange world. Hey guys, a big shout out and thank you to all the fantastic patrons on the channel. Thanks again for being here each and every day and supporting this channel. You guys make this content possible. You make things happen on the channel. Thanks again, guys. See you soon. I want that one and this one and that one over there. Oh, you're back. Thanks for being here, guys. I know. I put this backdrop up there and you're like, hey, man. Now there's nothing. Now it's like the darkness, man. We've fallen into the black hole from Disney. What was that, 1979? That's an old movie, right? No. 80s? That's an old movie, though. Somewhere around there. I remember that movie. They need to remake that. It's kind of a creepy movie. Anyway, guys. You know, I do videos like this. Just like an opinion piece where you're just talking. and not your thoughts come across the way you want when you just do a take. And you say, this is what I'm thinking right now, at the moment that I'm doing it. And I still feel like if Wizards, I said earlier in the video, oh, they're going to kill the game off, right? By killing it off, I'm not saying like the game's going to stop being played. It's when they would reprint something like that and they would kill off that collectability factor. There'd be a lot of people who would still collect the original cards, but it wouldn't be anywhere near what it used to be, and it probably couldn't be revitalized in the same way. Wizards is big on this whole artificial scarcity now and stuff, and I don't think it can work if the players accept it, but most players don't. Right? They want to be able to play the game and enjoy it. They love the fact their cards can have money when they get lucky, but Wizards has got to do it in a certain way, and I think they really messed up that 30th anniversary by not pricing it correctly. It could have engaged so many more players in the future collectability of the game if they'd done it right. And they got to limit stuff right now, and I don't think they'll do that either the way that they're talking. So we'll see. Anyway, just some jibber jabber stuff at the end of the video as I stand in the void of the blackness of my green screen. Alright guys, have an awesome day. Thanks for being here, man. I hope you guys enjoy reserve list cards as much as I do, and I look forward to seeing you guys and the comment section. I wonder how this one will blow up, or not at all. Videos like this can just die on the vine. Some videos can make like 3,000 to 4,000 views, and some make 1,100. Who knows? We'll find out though. We'll see you guys then.